Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last. Mothers and fathers.
How can an entrepreneurship mindset enhance relationships? This is Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Noreen Daly. And yes, you've heard the term entrepreneurship. And who else could we talk with about this than Lanisia Rhoden? She wears several hats, but in this capacity, I'm introducing her as a social entrepreneur. And she needs to tell you this because I could remember all of it. And
a business and nonprofit management consultant.
Okay. So she needs to help us to understand what that means. What does that mean?
Okay, so I help entrepreneurs to start and grow their businesses.
Okay.
And I also help individuals and even companies who want to set up nonprofit organizations to start and to grow their nonprofit organizations in a sustainable manner.
Okay.
Yes.
What or who is a social entrepreneur?
A social entrepreneur is an individual who has started a business that is not only generating profits for the individual, but the business is creating social impact.
Okay.
So the business is contributing to the development of the society.
Okay.
Right.
So for somebody who's listening and they're saying, that all of that sounds heavy, in layman's term, who would you say is an entrepreneur?
An entrepreneur? Right. So an entrepreneur is a person who has an idea and actually has taken some action to start that idea, to start a business,
Okay.
to generate profits, right, for themselves.
Okay. So the topic that we're going to be talking about, that we're going to be dealing with is the whole idea of how that mindset
Right.
can enhance relationship. Describe to us what that mindset is, an entrepreneurial mindset.
Right. So an entrepreneurial mindset, it entails several different things,
Okay.
right? Firstly, you must be a risk taker, right? Entrepreneurs are risk takers. If you're not willing to take a risk, then you may have to question yourself about being an entrepreneur. Because in starting a business, you don't know if the business is going to be successful or if you're going to fail, right? So it's almost like a 50-50 chance, right, of success versus failure. But you as the entrepreneur will make that decision to go ahead with it. I like to use the term calculative risk.
Okay.
Right? So it's not just... Yes.
Not just taking risk just for risk's sake.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because if you see that there's a 95% chance of this thing failing, then the wise or smart thing to do might be to, change the idea. But if there is a 50-50 chance of success versus failure, then you can actually go ahead. So you always weigh the pros and cons.
Okay.
An entrepreneurial mindset, you must be perseverant.
Okay.
You have to be somebody who is willing to persevere, to continue. As an entrepreneur, there's a high possibility of failure, of experiencing failure. There, depending on the type of business that you're in, you may get several no's, but you cannot be someone who gives up easily. If you give up easily, then you may not have that chance to succeed. Because for most entrepreneurs, being successful comes later on in the journey. Usually it's not at the beginning.
Okay.
Right?
So definitely not immediate.
No, not at all. Right. Another thing is an entrepreneurial mindset. You must be a problem solver, somebody who is solutions oriented, right? You have to see a problem, and when you see a problem, you don't dwell on the problem, but immediately you start thinking, okay, this is a problem. How can I solve it? That's the type of mindset that you need to have as an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So you're not only creating solutions for yourself, but you're creating solutions for others, because that is how you're going to generate income.
Okay. So with that as the base, and there are just so many different types
Right.
of relationships we could talk about. Let's zero in on a particular type, or just relationships in general,
General.
just platonic relationships.
Right.
How then do you think, having all of what you just said, risk taker, being, perseverant, solution oriented, how then do you think that can then enhance that particular type of relationship?
Right. So if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, you actually create a different level of value for your friends, right? Your friends will identify you as someone they can actually bounce ideas on, right? If your friends have an idea for a business, they're not afraid to talk to you because they know that you are someone who have already been taking risk and you're not the kind of person who is going to shut down to say, no, this will not work or that won't work. But you're that kind of person who's going to encourage them and say, yes,
True.
Go ahead, start it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? So that's the advantage that an entrepreneurial mindset can give you as to your friends or in general relationships.
Okay.
Another thing is that I didn't mention this before, but usually the entrepreneurial mindset, you're somebody who's very creative and innovative, and this links to problem solving. So if something is not working in one way, then you can
find another
way to make it work. And again, you want to be around people like this. You're having a problem, whatever the problem is, it means that the person is able to look at it with a different eye and to give some other type of solution to whatever problem you're having.
Okay. Anything else in terms of the platonic relationships?
Yes. So And this is my personal experience.
Okay.
What I find is that for me, yes, many of my friends will bounce ideas, off. They'll come to me and say, Lanisia, I have an idea for this, I have an idea for that, and I'll be able to give them tips on how they can actually get started and to execute the ideas that they have. But one of the things that I find that works for me because of my entrepreneurial mindset is that when I get together with my friends, we don't really do small talks, right? We're usually talking about what it is that they're doing,
Nice.
or they're even talking about what I'm doing. And because of that, it's easy for me to identify their strengths. So even if the person may not have an idea for business, but may say, for example, hey, I want to earn more, right? Or I'm not sure I'm in this field, but I'm not sure that this is where I want to be. Or maybe they're having an issue at work. I can speak to them to say, what are your strengths? What do you enjoy? What are you good at? How can you actually use that thing that you're good at to earn income, to make money, and then go full-time into it? So that is the kind of conversation that I have with my friends generally because of my entrepreneurial mindset.
Okay. We've been talking a lot in terms of positive, and this podcast is about helping to have better relationships.
Right.
But specifically in terms of that type of relationship, how do you think that has actually, impacted on your relationships negatively? Because there's always the flip side to that. How do you think that has happened?
Right. So, of course, there are always two sides. You may find that you will have friends, and I have friends who they definitely do not have that entrepreneurial mindset, right? They will see my life as someone who, wow, you are a risk taker. Like, you can get up and quit your job and go into business. And they may also see it as somebody who may not have a particular level of stability that they may get from a 9-to-5. And so that is one way, or those are some ways in which people can actually, doubt the entrepreneurial mindset or the entrepreneurial journey, right? Another way that I've seen in terms of a negative connotation is where, for me, I tend to be very business-like. And so I take a very objective approach to problem solving and most things in life. And you may find that you have a very good friend, but you're giving your opinion on something and you may decide to be objective, but the person may take it on a very personal level because they're not sure how to separate business from friendships. So that is something that I've had to actually, deal with over the years. That I've been an entrepreneur, even with my family. I think I've seen that play out more so with my family than anywhere else, especially when my family works with me in business, where, I've had to make serious business decisions or to be very firm on a particular action. But because your family, they may question, like, why are you being so firm? and not really get that I'm doing this because of the business and it has nothing to do with the relationship and the love I have for you.
Okay.
Right.
So we touch a little bit on the flip side, but if for somebody listening, I would say, okay, I've heard all of this, but then I want just some tips. What would be some tips, or maybe like a 3-step approach you'd say to somebody specifically in terms of their platonic relationships, in terms of how to use this mindset to enhance those relationships?
Right. What I'd say is it is definitely an advantage because you are more open-minded. Your thinking becomes different. As an entrepreneur, you tend to think without limits. You are open to new possibilities. You're open to taking risk. You're open to starting something. You understand what it is to even start small and just being uncomfortable, right? So 3 tips that I would give to anyone with an entrepreneurial mindset as to how to deal with their friends. The first one is to be open. Be open to firstly listening to what the other person has to say. Allow them to ask the questions and even to ask for your assistance and your help. And then don't be afraid to share what you would have learned on your entrepreneurial journey. Don't be afraid to give them tips and suggestions of how they can actually use their skills and their strengths to turn that into a business and to just enhance their life in general. The second thing is, though, while you're giving these tips, you also have to be very conscious and aware and know when to stop.
Yes.
Right? Because you will have those persons who they may not be ready for what you have to share.
True.
Or be ready to take on that entrepreneurial journey. So as the entrepreneur, you have that advantage in terms of the characteristics or the personality traits to be risk takers, to maybe start small, to encounter some level of instability. But not everyone is wired that way. Some persons will definitely not function if they're not in a 9-to-5, and they will not manage if they don't have that secured income coming in on a monthly basis. So while you're giving the tips and encouragement, ensure that you are very conscious and aware of this.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lanisia. It was all about how can an entrepreneurship mindset enhance our relationships, and the focus this time around was specifically on platonic relationships. This is Noreen Daly with Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. Until next time.
I loving you, mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers.